Pranakasha live stream. Hey folks, it's Matt at Pranakasha Productions, and today we're talking with Kyle Hester, extremely talented actor and filmmaker. So, Kyle, what have you got cooking? Now the SAG strike is over, hooray.
I know, right? And that was the thing. I went down there several times, so that was great. That was a grind.
So you walked the picket line and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually went down there and interviewed some people too. I mean, I have a show that's SAG approved, but it's a micro budget, so it actually was exempt from the strike.
There's a lot of that. I think that most of the struck shows are the big studios and stuff like that. So, and that really wasn't talked about a lot, but like the low budget, smaller studios, stuff like that were not struck. So it seemed like the whole business was shut down when it was really, it was just the big stuff.
Yeah. Well, mine is super small because a micro budget is something that's got a total budget of less than $20,000. So
that's great. Now, that's actually something that I was wondering about, if that would change once the strike got settled. Do you think that's going to affect the smaller productions like us? I wondered about that. It's like, because they had like the new media. That contract, which is what we did Preacher 6 under, was the new media contract. And I wonder, like, if that's still going to be available to do without, like, completely changing and like not being possible to do a low budget, as far as a filmmaker now.
Huh. I don't know. Has SAG sort of published what the new deal is yet, or they still working on communicating that?
I haven't seen like the exact details of the contract. I think they're going to be doing that here shortly. So yeah, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Yeah, I know the other way it affected me is that I owned a table at Star Trek Las Vegas last year, and it made it way harder for the actors that were at my table to sell autographs because you weren't allowed to promote whatever show it was that you were in. So, I mean, then people are like, well, who are you? Well, I'm in such and such a show, but I can't say what it is. So it really kind of screwed the actors over. That I wish they would have come up with a better way to not affect the actors when they figured out all the rules for that strike.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that some of the things was a little like really, like Halloween, couldn't wear Marvel costumes, whatever, that kind of thing. It's like, all right, okay. So,
but hopefully they got what they wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard that the whole reason why it ended was because that they're about to hit a deadline where SAG was going to have to pay tons of money for people's health care or something like that.
Oh,
and that's
really?
what caused them to finally come up with a compromise. So I was thinking, well, but then, of course, if that was the case, then maybe they didn't get all that they wanted because they knew they couldn't bargain anymore. I don't know.
That's interesting. So they were kind of like pushed up against a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
So that's what that sounds like.
Huh. Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully people, I think the big thing was hopefully people are going to get residuals for streaming stuff now.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll get some protection from AI where you can sort of copyright or trademark your likeness so that they can't just make computer renderings of you and just tell you to go take a hike.
I think that was one of the major stipulations that they wanted to make sure that, wouldn't happen, was that. So,
yeah.
And I guess they got what they wanted. I mean, that was a big sticking point, was the AI stuff.
Yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, now we can go back on our merry way and make stuff and hire SAG actors again. And
sounds like a plan.
So let's hear about your latest project.
All right. Well, I actually, basically, I'm kind of in the middle of two different things. I have Preacher 6, which is in post production right now, and basically that's been a long road to hoe. And so I've officially decided to no longer do like regular kind of fundraising campaigns, for that, like GoFundMe's and that kind of
Kickstarters and so on. Yeah.
yeah, Kickstarters and that kind of thing. I think it's difficult to in today's climate to raise money like that. I mean, it's
Okay.
possible, but I think you have to have a really strong whole team doing it and have kind of ducks in a row for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So right now, what I'm doing is I have a YouTube channel. It's Kyle's Film Garage. Actually,
Okay. We'll
not
put a
sure
link
it's
down in the description right there.
okay. Cool.
Yeah, guys, go over there, like and subscribe. Just click over there right now and then come back here. We'll wait.
Right on. Thank you. Thank you very
We'll
much.
twiddle our thumbs while you do that.
We'll all wait. We'll all wait.
Yeah.
But what I had done was basically I had been doing like kind of like walking videos through Hollywood and whatnot, and I started doing what's going on with the tents in Hollywood, and I started that last February.
You mean the homeless tents?
What's that?
What, the tents? You mean like the homeless tents?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. The homeless.
I was just down there. I have a friend who lives within walking distance of the main drag in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And like there's this underpass that we walk through to get there where there's like 4 tents right there. We always just walk right through their kitchen, or their living room. And,
exactly. So, and that exactly so exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So like I started doing these walks because people were like, hey, what's going on? So I'm like, all right, well, I'll make some videos about it, And so I did that. And I think I made like 7 or 8 different walks from February to now. So over like a 9-month period. And I decided that, all right, well, I'm going to make a documentary about it. So actually today I did the very last bit of footage, kind of tying everything together. So I went like to each spot where they were or currently still are. Like there's different events, like, there was some fires that happened in different areas, in those big conglomerations, of tents and homeless people there. Right. And so I kind of like was there through all of it from when all of that happened to that it's like been cleaned up since then. And
but I mean, usually when they clean it up, all they do is relocate them to another part of the city. So it's
right, or they they relocate themselves. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we can't be here. Okay, well, we're going to go around the corner, and that's kind of like that's exactly what happened. Like at Santa Monica and Martel. Nope, not Martel. Anyway, on Santa Monica and across street, there was a fire and they had this big homeless encampment, on that street, and then they came and cleared everybody out. And they just basically moved right onto Santa Monica Boulevard. And that's right in front of the Home Depot, right there. So it's like, it's a crazy, crazy situation. Yeah. So it's like, so what I did was kind of like, it's a man on the street perspective. It's like let's take a look at what this is like living here, and also like the humanity of it, the human element of it, like what they're going through, where they're going to go. And so I touched on that, and then just kind of like.
Did you actually interview people?
I didn't. I stayed away from there. One lady who was doing outreach is like I interviewed, but it's basically like a timeline of how the city changed. So it's like if I'm just like living in this city, what's it like? Like if I don't know what's going on, so what's it like to be here? And so I think it's an interesting take. So I'm going to be getting into the editing actually probably tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
To put it all together. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Well, what we'll do is, and you're going to put it on YouTube, right?
It will eventually be on YouTube, but I have another platform that I put up for like a $5 rental first.
Okay. Well, when you want to put it on YouTube, we can put a link to it down here too, so people can find it.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, we have the same problem in Seattle. People say, when I was starting to hang out in LA, they're like, well, we have a homeless problem down here. And I looked around, it's like, it's not, it's just as bad in Seattle. I'm used to all
Yeah.
this. And
Yeah.
it's not just in downtown, it's all the way, you know, actually, I live about 30 minutes north of downtown Seattle. And even out here in the town that I live in is actually called Linwood, but nobody knows what that is. So I always say I'm from Seattle. But even
Right
way out
on.
here, we have homeless people, right? You know,
Hmm.
there's tents and there's stuff and people walking around and people like, you know, on the street corners and stuff way out here now. So it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it just keeps expanding and expanding from downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a problem, and
yeah,
it's like an all hands on deck, like how to solve the situation. It's like, the city and the state have to be on the same page about like what's legal, what's not legal,
yeah,
and it's like, because nobody wants to be in that situation. They don't want to be in that situation, and then the people in the neighborhood don't want to have that situation in the neighborhood. So it's like, so okay, so what's the solution? So I know that here in LA, like they're buying hotels and putting people up in hotels
so
and
is
that kind of
Seattle.
thing.
Seattle's doing
Yeah,
that too. But it
yeah, and
doesn't
then it's
seem
like,
to have changed. I don't see any less tents.
no, and probably, and that's because of the human element of like, what is this actually doing? I talked to a
Yeah.
homeless guy today, didn't put him on camera, but I said so, and he was right by one of the help centers, and he didn't even know that's where he was. I said, "Did you apply for like a room, in one of these hotels?" And he said, "Oh, I did that for a while," and he said I couldn't do it. And I said, "Really? Like, why? Why couldn't you do it?" And he said, "Well, it's basically the people.
Yeah.
It was like because there's so many people that is like it basically if everybody that's going to a place is in the worst time of their life with nothing and probably like drug issues or
Right.
mental health issues and that kind of thing all in one place, that's not a healthy place to live. So it's like, so what do you do? I don't have the answers, but it's like
Right.
it's a complicated situation, and it's really hard to kind of like to like point, this is what you do. You know what I
Yeah, it's
mean?
really nuanced.
Yeah, it is. It is. So yeah, so I'm gonna put it together, and it's like, I figured that like doing a documentary was like I am documenting what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not judging them. I'm not judging the people that don't want them to be on the street. It's like these are the sides, and this is the reality of the situation. So, and here it is, and it's on video.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So that's fast. That'll be fascinating. I'll watch that. So be sure to let me know when it's out.
I definitely
And
will. I definitely will. Thank you.
so
Yeah.
you were
So
obviously in that because you were the guy. You were like the host of that show. And then your other thing. So the other thing you mentioned was it was a horror thing, wasn't it?
yeah, Preacher Six. Preacher
Yeah.
Six.
Is that
It's
preacher or
pre-
creature?
preacher.
Preacher
Preacher, like,
as in
yeah,
the
as in man of the church.
oh.
Yeah, is Preacher Six is about a
Now
small
is he a
town
good
preacher.
preacher or is he like is he
Well,
corrupt?
he I would say he's a good preacher.
Okay.
He's like small town preacher ends up fighting demons in a literal sense. So
Okay.
it's like a Quentin Tarantino kind of thing. It's not a religious film.
Okay.
It's more like an action suspense, that kind of thing.
Is it as
So it's
gory as Quentin Tarantino?
uh I don't know that you can outgore Quentin Tarantino. So I mean, we'll do our best, but I may probably a little bit more suspense than Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
A little more left to the imagination,
Okay.
than him. But that comes down to like what's possible, budgetary and stuff like that.
Okay. How much religious background do you have? Like, do you know enough about the Bible and stuff to really make this preacher believable?
Well, I mean, I grew up like in New Orleans, so everybody's Catholic.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I went to Catholic school like when I was in elementary school and that kind of thing. And like so yes, I have experience like that, and certainly can
Oh,
make
so he's a
a
priest. He's not like a Protestant preacher?
Right. Right.
He's a
Yeah.
priest, and he knows how
Yeah.
to do exorcisms and things, apparently.
I would think so.
And
Yeah.
he
I mean,
knows
I
the
think you
rites and
have
all
to
that.
be like, you have to go up, that's kind of like up there, for, exorcisms, that kind of thing. I think that's like Vatican stuff. You got to call like the guy that knows the guy that can like, okay, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
yeah, but there's no exorcisms in Preacher Six.
Oh,
It's
okay.
yeah, it's just basically like kind of like demons that inhabit people, on the here, and like fighting those like with guns,
With
like that.
guns. Okay.
Yeah,
So, all right. So, kind of like zombies, sort of things.
right,
Okay.
right. Yeah, so
Interesting. And that's a short film, or is that feature length?
that's feature.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we had Carmen Argenziano from Stargate. He was amazing in it, and Naomi Grossman
Cool.
from American Horror Story. So yeah, we got some good people in it, and
Okay.
Zach Galligan from Gremlins.
Are you
So
acting in it too?
yes,
And you're
yeah.
the director too, right?
No. I didn't direct it. No,
Okay, you're the
that was
writer.
a great heroes. My wife actually wrote it. Yeah,
Oh,
Tracy Ray. Yeah, she wrote it. She's awesome, and yeah, she did a brilliant job on it.
okay.
So
So you're the producer.
I produced it. Yeah,
All right. And
yeah,
that means
yeah.
you also have to order like the catering trucks and make sure there's toilet paper and the
That
porta potties
is,
and so on.
you know what? Being a producer on a film is so much work. I mean, it's like you know what it's like. It's like you're basically in charge of everything. So yeah, it's spinning lots of plates and wearing lots of hats, and it was a lot. It was a lot of work, but I love it, and I'm crazy enough to do it again. So
Cool. And then are
yeah.
you the person editing it, or do you have somebody that's going to edit it for you? Or
No, I have editors and VFX people, so I have to get some B-roll and stuff like that still. But yeah, so I have help, so that's good.
cool. All right.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big production then,
Oh yeah,
with all those people
yeah,
involved.
yeah.
Wow.
We shot in Arkansas, and we shot here in LA, and yeah, we were on Pollution Studios downtown, where we shot most of the interiors and stuff like that. So there's a lot of VFX that has to be completed still.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's like and basically, so I'm going to use the funds from the documentary to finish Preacher Six.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so we just keep on rolling. You gotta get things finished.
Yeah. And how long has this been going? This Preacher Six?
Well, let's see. We had the idea came up. It was 8 years ago.
Okay.
Was the idea for it, and they started to write it, and we started to do a little bit of like some preliminary stuff back then. I let's see. I think that 2 years after that, I think is when we shot in Arkansas, because it's like we wanted to get something done, like proof of concept
Okay.
on that. So then got back from Arkansas, and then like I think it was like another year and a half, 2 years of fundraising,
Okay.
in order to shoot the bulk of the film, which was here in LA at Pollution
Okay.
Studios. So, and
Are you still
yeah.
using some of that footage from that initial shoot?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. So that all kind of like tells the before story, like
Oh, okay.
before he gets to Los Angeles. He spent time in New Orleans, and around all the demons and whatnot out there. So that kind of set up the story. I don't want to give too much of the plot away.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's some setup that happens in New Orleans, and then we come out to LA. So then, yeah, so we've basically been kind of just editing the regular stuff and doing some VFX, and then a couple of people in our post-production, including myself, got COVID. So, and that was like pretty, had like the long haul for like a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
Okay, so you got it bad.
pretty
Yeah.
debilitating. Yeah, so that kind of set us back on the post production. But so now, we're up and running and kind of like on all cylinders, and we're full go with everything.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, hey, that's indie. You know what I mean? That's independent film. It's like one way or the other. It's like you just got to keep going.
Yeah. Okay, I don't feel so bad about being so far behind schedule on my thing.
Don't. I mean, it's like
I set myself a goal that I wanted to do, because what I have is I have a Star Trek show I have 4 episodes completed, and I'm working on episode 5. And I initially wanted to do 4 episodes a year, but now it's taken me a year and a half to do episode 5. So, and it's like 15 minutes long, so it's pretty big project.
You know what?
Actually.
Well, but you're doing it though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like
I have 4 episodes completely completed and published.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? It's like, unless, here's what people don't understand about like independent stuff, is that like it's small crew in post, regular production. It's like all right, guys and gals, it's us. We got to do this, pull it together. And then like for post production, it's like, it's you. So when do you have the time, in your life with like bills and life and money, and how do you do things to be able to finish, editing a film, or a short, because there's lots that goes into, finishing a film. It's like,
as you know, the post production, like in my show, the entire thing is done with green screens. So, I mean,
yeah,
it took me, I can write a script for a 50-minute show in like a week or less. And then it takes me a year to actually produce it. And then, but it probably is maybe 10 hours worth of shooting. And then all the rest is, I don't know how many hundreds of hours it is to edit it all.
Yeah.
To do all the visual effects and get it all together and get a finished product. So the post-production by far is the thing that takes the longest.
Yeah, for sure. And so mirroring, exactly what's going on with Preacher 6, so it's like, 10, however many, 7 times as much footage for a film, it's like, and it all takes time. It's like every scene, especially when you're dealing with effects, it's like every scene has to be what it's supposed to be for the scene, and that's it. You got to figure out how to do it one way or the other, or you got to cheat things, one way or the other, come up with something else, another idea that like, oh, well, we can't really do that effect. Oh, damn. Sorry. So what am I going to do? So then you got to figure something out, cut to a flashback or a something or a visual or
a reaction or something like that.
A reaction or something that's going to like sell what you had in what you had in mind.
Well, in Star Trek, all you got to do is have Spock look into his little viewer and describe the whole thing.
Oh, that's killer. Yeah. I'm gonna have Spock come on Preacher 6 and like just like explain. So this is what's happening.
Yeah.
That's
shine
awesome.
a blue light on his face, and then he can just.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's lots of tricks. Yeah. Whew. And then, of course, well, then all that. Like, do you think you'll have to reshoot anything once you start getting in there, or will you just have to figure out ways to fudge around stuff that didn't quite work?
We just have to figure it out. I mean, it's at this point. I mean, we're talking like the principal photography was like 4 years ago. So. And people live in different places now. People look different. It's like the sets. We don't have the sets. So like whatever is in the can is that's what we have.
Yeah.
So whatever tricks, but that if there is something that's missed, I mean maybe like B-roll. It's like I can shoot things. Cutaways, you know what I mean? Like if something doesn't work out and you have a conversation in a bar, then you have 2 people talking to each other and you only have like, a couple of shots of this, then well, that didn't really work because the person was looking this way, now they're looking that way when they
Yeah.
said the line, so it doesn't work. I need something to cut away to. Okay,
Right.
so we're gonna need like a shot of a hand on a glass, or like pouring something to cut to that can cheat whatever
Right.
that moment is.
I know. Yeah, I
It's
know
like
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, any directors out there or
Yeah.
editors would probably scream it at people like, please give me stuff to cut away to,
Yeah.
that will like save trouble,
Yeah. Well, the thing that's lucky in my show, since it's all green screens, and I pretty much, it's very rarely that I'll film two actors at the same time. I almost always just film one actor at a time and then just composite them all in.
Oh,
So
wow,
I'll have
cool.
lots of extra footage that I can use for reaction shots and stuff like that if needed. And
Nice.
it's a lot of work, of course, and you have to
Yeah.
really plan the scenes well and make sure
Yes.
the angles are right and everything. But sometimes I've had to mirror image an actor when they were looking the wrong way. And like sometimes if you look real close, you notice their mole is on the wrong side of their cheek for one shot,
Right.
Usually you can get away with that,
Yeah. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, that's tricky. Have a bunch of people in a green screen. You got to like mirror one of them just for a second. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. It takes it's really, actors are used to reacting off each other. So they have to be able to just imagine the whole thing. And then a lot of times what I'll do off camera is I'll play the other actor that they're bouncing off of, and that'll help.
Cool.
So I've sort of I give them something to work with. But it's always amazing when it's all edited together, even for them, because they were just sitting in a room, it was just me and them in a green screen room going through their lines. And then later when they see they're having a conversation with the other actor. And if I edit it well, it's completely sells and it totally works.
That is very cool.
Yeah. It's the cool thing is that you have a lot of control of everything in the editing, and you can also do you can fix a lot of the lighting and stuff like that too with software. So it gives me a lot of control, but on the other hand, it takes a long time to get it right because you have to tweak everything to make it look real.
Mm-hmm,
so it's a double-edged sword when you do it like that.
Yeah. DaVinci Resolve has some like really cool like lighting stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like tools. Yeah.
Yeah. So does Premiere Pro, has a ton of different lighting effects too. That's what I use.
Oh, cool.
But I've never used DaVinci. I know everybody says that DaVinci is really great for color correction and lighting and stuff, but I found I can get whatever I want with Premiere Pro.
You know what? I mean, it's all the same stuff. It's just different buttons. It's like so. It's like whatever you do what works, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not like everybody should do this or should do that. Right. It's like do what works.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool. Wow. Okay. So you got that. So that's a long-term project that you got rolling, and then you've got your homeless documentary. And then on your channel, have you thought about doing podcasting stuff kind of like this, where you just interview people?
I don't actually. I mean, like, do you have like how are you doing this? Do you have a webcam set up, or is this do you have a PC?
How am I doing this right now?
Yeah.
All I have is I have an external webcam, a Logitech webcam that's pretty decent, and then I'm looking right at the laptop that it's running off of so that I can see you and me. And I have it set up so the camera is like an inch above it. So when I look at the screen and see you, I'm looking right into the camera.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
that works good for me.
Yeah, but you know what? It's funny because like I don't know how to do what you're doing.
Well, how are you doing? Are you just on a phone right now, or how are you doing yours? Okay, you could do it. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, this is just a regular Android, but as far as like doing podcasts or that kind of thing, it's like I've thought about it, but I don't know, for some reason it's like do I have the space how to get people like well,
you got a nice backdrop. You could do it from that. Plus, I mean, all you do is schedule a Zoom call and press record. That's all I did. It's a lot
Cool.
harder if you want to live stream it. That's harder to do. But like this, where we're just recording it ahead of time,
So okay, so
it's not
just
really
like
that hard to do technically.
Zoom and record. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
yeah. And the
Well, I could
great
do
thing
that.
about it is, it's like, whereas you and I have to suffer through hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of post production to get a 1 hour finished product. Here, you and I can talk for 90 minutes, and it'll take me an hour maybe to edit it, and then I publish it tomorrow or the next day, and I've got 90 minutes worth of content that quick.
That's awesome.
Plus, there's
That
no
is
script. My guest pretty much creates the content.
Yeah.
And I just
Yeah.
so
That's
it's a
true.
really easy way
It's
to really rack up time on your channel if you want to get view time up and stuff.
Yeah, what I do on mine. It's basically like vlogging kind of stuff. So
Okay.
walking, adventure videos, and like go around Hollywood, and so yeah, it's like just discovery things. I mean, I've done some meat videos and some. I like archery, so I shoot a bow, and
Ah.
I got some. It's pretty eclectic. It's kind of all over the place, but the way I like to think about it is like what's interesting. Like
Do you
what is
have any,
interesting.
do you
You
have any
know.
friends that are about to get a Cybertruck that you could shoot with your bow and arrow?
Oh my God, that's hilarious. No, I don't. But that would be a good one. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about,
All
that
right.
Joe Rogan thing.
What did he
Joe
do?
Rogan had Elon Musk on his podcast recently, and then they were joking around about the Cybertruck, and then Joe goes, "Well, yeah, I bet you my bow and arrow can pierce your Cybertruck," and he goes, "Oh, I bet you it can't." So then they went out into the back, and he actually took a shot at it, and he had a hunting bow that had a real, I think it had a carbide tip
Yeah.
arrow on it, and it was a big bow, and he's a big guy, so
Yeah.
usually it would just sail right through a car door, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't. It bounced off the Cybertruck and made a tiny little dent and broke the
Really?
arrow and sent the arrowhead flying. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. Well, I am actually surprised at that outcome.
yeah.
I
Well,
would have thought that it would have gone through.
no. Well, they also did a thing where they emptied an entire magazine of a Tommy gun into the
Yeah.
side of a Cybertruck, and none of the bullets pierced it. I mean, they dented the hell out of it, but none of them actually went through the armor.
Interesting. Yeah, I heard about that, and I heard that people were saying, well, if you use a higher velocity,
Armor
whatever an
piercing.
AR.
Well, if you had a 50 cal, it'd probably go through. Well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or 20
Well, then
millimeter cannon would probably pierce it.
then you at that point you are no longer in the city. You're somewhere else dealing with bigger problems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's funny.
yeah. Yeah. Interesting. That's cool. So do you actually hunt with your bow, or just do target practice, or what?
No, it's just for fun. So yeah, no hunting. Just yeah, just targets and whatnot. And I did experiments, how many water jugs will a Hungarian horse bow go through, like that kind of thing, like fun stuff. So
Okay,
I'd like
Mythbusters. Yeah, you should do that. You should do a little Mythbusters type of series on your YouTube channel.
It's kind of like that. So something that I want to do is can you shoot a bow through a sandbag? With like my bow is a Hungarian horse bow. It's like a 45-pound draw. It's not one of those compound bows or anything like that.
Okay.
But and I use regular wood arrows. So it's natural. I don't really like the carbon fiber stuff because actually those are super light. They'll go fast, but they're light, so they don't really do much of anything. They don't go through anything. So,
Right.
so it's like the heavier, it has more mass.
Right.
So that mass will go through something, and that's
what
the
is
idea.
it? 1/2 mass velocity squared is what the kinetic energy is.
Right.
So the kinetic energy goes up as a ratio to the mass. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like if you have wooden arrows are relatively heavy, so they will surprise you in what they can go through. So I'm curious if they'll go through a sandbag. And I've seen different videos. I've seen videos where it actually does go through, and then I've seen the fails. So I think it'll be interesting because I really don't know what to expect, but that'll be one that I'll do.
So if you shot a bullet into a sandbag, how far in would it go? Just like an inch or so?
Not far, but maybe halfway into it. Yeah, sandbags do a good job of stopping bullets, but not arrows.
Hmm.
And that's because of the kinetic energy. It's like small point, with a lot of energy behind it, going in one direction, not tumbling or like a bullet would do that. So it's like
Right.
spreads the energy out through the sand, but like an arrow kind of pushes through it.
Right. And that's the same principle that armor piercing rounds have. It's the exact same thing. Like I know like there's certain rounds that are designed to go through tanks that are made out of depleted uranium simply
Right.
because uranium is so dense that they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
make the round as heavy as possible for that exact same reason. And then
Yeah.
then it can actually pierce quite thick plate armor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Depleted uranium. That's scary stuff right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, put some in your cereal.
Yeah. It's depleted, so it can't hurt you.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing in there. It's depleted.
It'll still make your poop glow in the dark, but that's actually kind of cool.
Sure. Sure. Everybody likes that,
Glow in the dark poop when in the middle of the night, you know.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Okay. All right. So back to we talked about homeless people, glow in the dark poop. So your YouTube channel, and so then, so now do you see yourself mostly as a producer, or do you still see yourself as an actor too, or?
Yeah, I mean, acting is what I've always done. That's what I started out as, and
Okay.
and I will always do that. So I think that I the first thing that I produced was The Chair with Roddy Piper, and I came onto that film as an actor. So I was not. I had no idea that I would end up producing it, but like the way that it ended up happening was the creator of it, Peter Simeti,
Uh-huh.
kept asking me questions. He lives on the East Coast, and I'm here in LA. So he was asking me questions like, "Do you know this person? Can you get this? Do you know where to find this?" And I had all the answers that he was asking me, and he didn't like any of the producers that he was interviewing, because they were all like A type, and he was like, "Who are all these assholes?" You know, they wanted to change the cast, and like all that kind of stuff. And Peter's like, "No, I'm not changing the cast. This is my cast. I've been like, I put this together over a long period of time, so just make the film happen with what we have available. Don't try to change, the ideas." So he said, do you want to produce it?" And I'm like,
Sure,
"Okay."
that sounds easy.
Yeah, I had no idea
And then he
what I
said,
was
"How good
getting.
are you with spreadsheets?"
Oh, no, 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 not me. No, no, creative producer. So make the thing happen. But yeah, they had the first and the second, and all of those people to do all of that kind of
Okay,
thing.
so
So
you had a cast of bean counters that could do that kind of stuff for you.
right, and he was
Okay.
handling a lot of that stuff too. I didn't handle any of the paperwork on The Chair.
Okay.
So it was just like basically the creative producer, just like make the film happen. So that's I built a set.
Oh,
It's like
cool.
yeah, because I have like carpentry background and art department, so it's like I can
Oh,
do all of those things as well. Practical effects and that kind of thing. So it was an easy thing because it was a horror film, and I was like, all right, so what are we doing? We have everything. We have the cast, and what do we need? We need a set. It's like you need like you need obviously lights and whatnot. Okay, who do we know? Okay, you got that. The gaffer's got like he's got a friend, and it was
right.
it was like it all came together.
Right.
Pretty, and it's just like that's how some things come together. But the locations that we went to scout some physical locations like prison, Long Beach jail, and stuff like that, and they were like echo chambers. Like one of them, the prison wasn't available, but then the Long Beach jail, it sounded like you were in an echo chamber. So like
Mm.
the sound wouldn't have worked. And like the
Mm.
director was there, and he's like, no, it's fine. We'll fix it in post. And I'm like, you can't fix a whole film of dialogue that sounds like you're in like a gymnasium.
Well,
It's like
couldn't you just overdub it all? Or
well, yeah,
what do you
who's going to
call
pay
that?
for
I
that?
forget what it's called.
A whole movie?
Oh, the
You,
entire movie's in there? Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's like most of it took place in the prison. So that was the thing. So here's me, where I came in as an actor, and then basically I'm telling the director, who is my boss, as the actor, that no, we're not going to shoot here. So that was an interesting thing because now I'm the producer, so I'm responsible for what this ends up looking like,
Yeah.
and sounding like, and all of that. So it was like, so that was I said no, and
I know what I would have done. I would have
we
just took
do.
lots of footage of that prison and then done the entire thing on green screens.
Well, you know what? There's a way to do it too. So yeah, so basically I just we were running out of time. We had 3 weeks until we were supposed to be shooting. That's when all the actors were lined up for it. And I said, well, I'll build it. I'll build the prison. So
Wow.
so then basically I spent the last, 2.5, 3 weeks building the prison in my backyard in Hollywood. So fortunately I had a backyard to do it in. And the
So how
tools.
did you solve uh, the echo? Was all your stuff was just wood and there was a lot of sound absorbing stuff off camera
Oh
and
no,
stuff? Or
we went to a stage. So yeah,
okay.
so we didn't use the jail anymore. We went to Pollution Studios. And so I'm actually going to I'll go there and do like a tour of that place. But yeah, so we went to Pollution Studios, and they have, the sound is good there, and
And it
it
has
fit the
built-in
standard.
lights and stuff like that. Or do you have to bring your own
It
lights?
has lights available, so they have like, overhead kind of like beams that you can attach stuff to. But our gap are like, brought in standing lights and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's like lighting a hallway, that we built and that kind of thing. So it was fun. It was a lot of
So
fun.
it was supposed to look like brick and cement walls and stuff like that?
Yeah, like
Or,
concrete walls.
but it
Hmm.
styrofoam or how did you do it?
It was Luan, which is like like a regular set, like a regular wooden set wall. So what we did, and here's if you want to know how to make a cement wall, what you do is you get stucco, and you basically mix stucco and Elmer's glue, aliphatic resin,
Okay.
any kind of like Elmer's wood glue or
Okay.
anything like that. You get the gallons and you mix them in there with the stucco, and then it'll make the stucco stick. And you roll it on. You roll it on to the wood,
To
and then
plywood.
there you go. There you go, concrete.
Wow.
Yeah, you're welcome. Whoever's listening who uses that trick, because that's a great one to have.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
And then do
so
you spray paint it after that, or is the stucco already got the color
you
that you
can,
want?
you can either tint it, like whatever you want, like they do. They have like stucco tint, so you can like tint it whatever color you want it, or like people paint concrete walls all the time. So then you just
Hmm.
do it like you would do it wherever it was, just paint it,
Wow.
and then it has a texture of concrete because it is stucco, you know, but it's just a light wooden, Luan flat. Don't tell
Interesting.
anyone I told you this because that's top secret information.
Yeah. That's interesting. What other tricks you got? Of course, you know the one, like I went to the Universal Studios and they showed us the soundstage that they used for Big Bang Theory. And but then I'm sure you've been in there. It's this big warehouse that's got all these sets crunched up like an accordion, where the walls are like a couple of feet apart. And then when they pick
Yeah.
the one they want to use, they just open it up and it's as big as a whole room. You ever seen that?
I have not seen that.
Oh, I
That's
got it.
amazing.
Okay. It's amazing how they do it. So basically what they have is it's a big warehouse and they have a bunch of sets that look like real rooms, but they're all the walls are on these racks with wheels, and then they can crunch them all up together when they're not using them. But then when they want to use a particular set, then they just open it up and spread it out,
That
and then
is
they've got it.
awesome.
Okay, yeah, that was the biggest thing that I remember from that whole tour. Yeah,
Okay. I got to see that. That sounds cool.
yeah, it's really cool. The other trick they have is they'll have rooms that are sets where when you look one way, it's like the the bedroom. But then when you turn around with the camera and look the other way, it's like the living room. So it's really two rooms in one, but you
Yeah.
only see it from, depends on which
Mm-hmm.
angle you're looking at it. All these
Yeah.
different ways that they can be efficient with the amount of space they have.
Yeah. For Preacher 6, I also built the sets for that. And we had like multiple rooms on like one sound stage.
Yeah.
So like, so one wall, so would be like double walls. So we'd put like, loo on both sides of the flat. So you in one side. So this is all planned out, and we'd be like, okay, so, flat B has to be, one color is the bar and the other color is the bedroom. So it's like the bar is dark, the bedroom's light blue. So it's like, so we'd go, okay, this you have left and right so that you'd know which way it's going to orient, when you
Right.
put it on. So you'd have like flats that were like painted different colors and everything had its place, to be able to make like multiple rooms, including like, a cathedral, the inside of a church, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. So you know all about that then. So
Yeah.
basically, you're just trying to pack as much stuff into that soundstage as you can, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like you have, all right, you have like a day of setup, build the whole set, and then 11 days of shooting, and everybody don't mess up.
But you built the entire set in one day?
No. I built the set, off site, but then you have like a day of prep, like in the pollution studios. So it's like, so everything had to be ready, like to go in with like, 35 flats, put everything together, put the doors in, and everything's pre-painted, so
Okay.
everything was built and made off site.
Okay. And then I assume that some stuff gets damaged in the process and you have to fix it.
You got to touch it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Your kit. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just
Flashback.
last week, I was at, there's a show that I'm a co-producer of. Besides my Star Trek show, there's another show called Space Command that I'm a co-producer on. And I was just at their set, which is basically a couple of warehouses out in wherever it was. I didn't drive there. What is it called? Anyway, it's somewhere out in the sticks in LA. And, but one of the rooms is just a warehouse where the producer of the show, Mark Zickery, loves to go to auctions and buy set pieces from sci-fi shows and rework them. So he has like stuff from like Outland, and he even has a spacesuit from 2001: Space Odyssey. He has a spacesuit from Star Trek. He has these consoles from this other show called, I forget what it was called, Ender's Game. I think he has.
Oh, wow.
All kinds of stuff. I just put it up on my channel, actually, where I went around and had a person tell me, this piece is from this show, this is from that, this is from this is from that. It's really interesting.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I love all that memorabilia. It's so great.
Yeah. And then what he does is he puts it all together and uses it in his Space Command show. So
Nice.
he reworks it all.
Because, of course, if you have it, you got to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He even found, like, one of the things he found was this really futuristic set of white chairs that looked really cool in the scene that they used it in. And he literally saw them on the street. Somebody had put them on the curb and said free. So he just grabbed them because he's like, oh, I can use this in my show.
Yeah. You know what? It's like in LA, it's like, I think we definitely got some furniture for Preacher 6, on that. And also, what's that Halloween? I was working on one of those like Tales of Halloween. I think that's what it's called. So I was working with the art director on that, and we'd drive around and like, all right, we need a couch. So we have the U-Haul truck. So, I know that I saw a couch at, such and such address. Let's go snag it. We got to go get it tonight or it won't be there in the morning. So we, got a couch and tables and, there's all, it's like LA is like people put the furniture out all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I do a lot of, I get a lot of props and stuff from like Value Village too. Super cheap.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. props and costumes and things. A lot of things you can, if you have a good eye, you can just, you're like, oh, I can use that.
The one out in the valley?
Like this, well, the one out in Seattle, but like it's hard to see, but this lamp, not the lava lamp, but there's another lamp right next to it that's really cool looking. You can't see it, but I got that at Valley Village for $5.
Nice.
You know, and just all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, it's super cool.
What else I have? There's not a whole lot here, but yeah. No, also, I have a 3D printer now, so now I can 3D print stuff like this. I 3D printed.
Oh, cool!
It looks like it's solid gold, right? But it's actually hollow plastic.
That is awesome.
And it took me, it took half a day to 3D print it, but it only cost me like $1 in materials, if that.
That is so cool. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in 3D printing.
This spaceship I 3D printed.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I also have these in like different colors too.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The sky's the limit.
The sky is the limit.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I'll have to get one of those.
It's not as easy as you might think. It's not like just push a button and it works. There's kind of an art to it. I don't think it's easy at all. It took me at least a week to get it to print this right. And then, because I was going to make a whole bunch of them. So once I finally got it right, then I could start cranking them out. But like certain shapes will 3D print really well, and other ones like this, that's got all these pointy things and got weird angles in it, has problems.
That looks like super complicated.
Yeah, I didn't actually make the model. I didn't make the 3D computer generated model for it. Somebody else did. But just even though I had that, I still had to orient it just the right way and get all the settings right and get these support things on it and everything for it to finally print without messing it up. So there's a lot to it. But I mean, you learn by doing.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you have to do something because other people didn't do it. Now you have to do it, so you got to learn how to do it. Yeah. So, and then there's that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So so you didn't write your scripts. So do you write scripts, or do you have other people that come up with the stories and stuff for you?
My wife is the screenwriter of the family. So, okay. Yeah, I do not have that talent. So it's good to have other talents. Yeah. And so that way I don't have to do everything, like you're doing, like everything. So it's a lot. It's a lot. So at least I get to take some things off my plate. Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. So when you guys are shooting, if the people mess up their lines, do you get yelled at? Like, did you have to say exactly what's on the script, or she gives you some leeway?
Well, here's what I like to do. I like to have basically like stick to the script, and so we'll get the lines, from the script. And if somebody wants to, ad lib, be creative, whatnot, we'll get that too. But we have to have, the script. So, that I think is pretty important, it keeps everything good in the family.
Because what I found, sometimes when I'm shooting my stuff, and I have an actor that's kind of stumbling over certain lines, sometimes like, you know what? That I just didn't write that very well. Let's just change it right now.
Sure.
So because I wrote it, I can do that. Like, do you ever have a thing where you call up your wife and, can we change this line, or just say it a different way? Or is she there when you're shooting?
Yeah. I think a couple of times we did that. So yeah. She's adaptable like that.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I think the pet peeve is when like the actors will just start doing whatever, just like start ad-libbing and whatnot, and stuff like that. Like for them to work out. I'm an actor, so I can totally diss on other actors. Right. We like try to work the chemistry and get that down. It's like, all right, well that's cool and all, but the script, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Yeah. So
That depends what you're. Because if you're Robin Williams and you're doing like a. What
Oh,
was
well,
it?
if you're Robin Williams and you have hired Robin Williams, and part of the talent that you have hired is that brilliance right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what was it. What was that movie? Darn it. The blockbuster animated film that was so good with the blue genie in it. Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The Disney film.
Yeah. It came out a
Yeah.
long time ago, but he was the genie. Oh, come on. I can't even come up with the name of it. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, though. But apparently they just had him ad-lib the whole thing. And then after that, they started animating based on what he freestyled.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, they obviously gave him some kind of parameters of what he was supposed to ad-lib around, but, you know, they basically just let him roll with it.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I mean, that's a special individual right there.
Yeah.
You know,
And it came out super good.
Of course.
Because he would, you know, how his brain would work. He would come up with these crazy things, and then they just animated it all. You know, they could do any kind of transformations and free, you know, stream of consciousness type of stuff with animation. It all came out incredible. I gotta watch that movie again. Why can I not come up with the name of it? You know, it's about the genie.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that classic tale.
Hang on.
Alibaba or whatever.
I'll be right back. Hold on. Hey, babe.
The empty chair. Yeah, when you're over 50, your brain starts to go, you know. Besides your hair turning gray. But we've got a solution to that. That's right here. We've got Control GX for men for the gray hairs. Control GX for men. I'm like a spring chicken, raring to go. Aladdin, exactly. Aladdin's lamp. Aladdin.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I couldn't remember that.
I know. I'm right there with you. I mean, I was watching the movie in my head. I know exactly. I can see the songs, you know, but yeah. It's that, I like to call it the creative block.
Yeah. The over 50 fog, in my case.
It's funny. Oh man, I think I had brain fog through the whole, like, you know, the long haul symptoms. That was like one of the biggest things was like the brain fog. It was awful.
Wow.
But yeah.
And were you like in bed the whole time for like a whole year?
No, it was more like I wasn't in bed. It was more like exhaustion, brain fog, like you can't hold a conversation.
Wow.
Because what did I just say? You know, it's like, what were we just talking about?
Wow.
You know, it was bad. It was like, I didn't think I would be able to act again. You know, It was like, how am I going to remember lines?
Was that because of lack of oxygen or something, or what caused that?
I'm not sure, but I know that like COVID did a lot of like damage to, like, you know, blood vessels. You know, so basically, if your brain is not getting oxygen, it's not functioning. You know, so it's like, yeah, you can do like scans on people's brains, and you know, there's like this whole COVID thing, you know, that happened with it. But yeah, it was super really bad, and you know, thankfully it got better. You know, so 2 years. 2 years.
2 years of being shot down. Wow. How much of that time did you spend in the hospital?
Oh no, it wasn't like a hospitalization thing. It was just it was just a how am I going to function, because it's like I'm super tired, you know, like all the time. Like I used to run all the time, you know. But this is how it was, you know, when I was going through like the COVID thing. It's like basically I'd run like half marathons and stuff like that, and then like when I had it, it was like, you know, how am I going to walk up the street? You know, like that kind of thing. So it's like it took a long time of basically like getting your energy back just to be able to like to function.
Wow.
So actually this is actually going to be the next like short that I'm going to do after the Hollywood tents, is to kind of visually tell this story of what that's like, because I know like, you can say, yeah, I had long haul, it's like I had the brain fog, and people go like, oh, okay, yeah, brain fog, yeah, I get that, but it's like, but until I tell you that I didn't know if I could act anymore.
Hmm.
It's like that is a different level of, oh yeah, I had brain fog, because
Hmm.
it doesn't tell the same story.
Hmm.
So it's like, so sometimes you have to tell the story for people to go, holy shit, that's what that was like.
Maybe
And
you
so
should
I think
call it
it's
a brain dust storm.
hey, oh yeah, like that. Yeah, the
Wow. And
brain
then,
dust storm.
so then, did you just gradually crawl out of that, or did it just suddenly it dropped off and then you felt normal again?
It was a gradual thing, and then I found this stuff called phosphatidylserine, and that, yeah, it's, I would say, look, if anyone wants to look that up, they can look that up. But that like totally helped, with the brain fog,
Hmm.
and then like all of a sudden it's like, oh, things feel possible, you know, and that was the turning point, and that was probably 6-7 months ago,
Oh, that wasn't that long ago.
finding that.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, so basically it's like, I could live a life and you wouldn't know, that there was anything wrong with me. It's like,
You could
I
just sort
would,
of fake it.
yeah, you just kind of fake it. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. But it's like, no one knows how tired you are, because how can you tell how tired you are? Because you look like you look, so no one knows it. Like, I'm going to go take a nap right now, like as soon as I'm done talking, it's like the things that you can't tell by looking at somebody,
Hmm.
so like nobody would know, so I'm working and I'm doing carpentry and all the stuff that that you would normally do for jobs, it's like, and during that time it's like I'm super grateful for all of the work that I got, because I would not have been able to continue working on an edit, learning an editing program.
Okay.
It's like, because I didn't have the memory capacity to be able to look at something and go, okay, what am I doing? Okay, I know
Okay,
I
well, how
just
did you,
did
like,
this.
when you're doing carpentry, like, how would you maintain your train of consciousness then?
Well, I mean, it's a different thing. I mean, it's like, I've been doing that forever. So it's like there's only so many things that you're going to do. There's like, measurements, and you got to cut stuff.
Okay.
That's an oversimplification, but
Uh-huh.
it's
And you
not
got a
like,
plan, like you'd write down what you're planning to do or something to,
right. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of like apples and oranges a little bit, because you fake it till you make it, but there are certain things that you can't. It's like, like as a producer, where you are in charge of everything and you're spinning plates and all these things that you have to handle that are like multiple people and places and situations and problem solving and all that kind of stuff that you have to do as a producer. And it was like, there's no freaking way. There's no way that I could produce something, at that, when I was in that place.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a crazy thing. So I'm actually looking forward to doing the short on it. I think it'll be, and I'm gonna make it dramatic, and use music and use strange images and all the kind of stuff to tell the story. So
Cool.
that'll be next.
Wow. That's a full length film, or is that a short film?
That'll be a short.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And did your
yeah.
wife get COVID that bad too?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
Yeah.
she had the brain fog and everything just as bad as you did?
Not as bad as I did, but she definitely got like the super tired and all of that, which it lasted just as long because we got like the initial, like when it first happened, like when nobody knew what it was,
Oh, wow.
everybody's getting sick and everybody was dying, all of that. Like we got that one.
Oh,
So,
ouch.
and fortunately, we're still here. We didn't go to the hospital, so it's like we were well enough to not have to go to the hospital, but it like did all of the damage that it does,
Wow.
So, yeah.
Huh.
So
Well, I'm
my
glad
story.
you pulled through. I mean, I knew two people, a husband and wife that were in their 60s that got it, and they both died. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my dad got it. He died of it. And then
I'm so sorry to hear that.
one of my aunts also died of COVID. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens.
Condolences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was way back. I mean, that was in 2020.
Yeah. That was it. It was that
early on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When nobody had antibodies and, all that kind of stuff. So people don't, I mean, it's like putting, I'm glad that you said that, it's like, I know people that died from it too. And I think that, that it's one of those things where being able to openly talk about it, and have, just like an honest conversation, that this happened. And like, I know people, I had it, so like all of the disinformation and stuff like that out there. It's like,
I got it in May, but it was what I got was super mild. Of course, I'd had 2 vaccines by then too.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like a very mild flu. In fact, it didn't even affect my lungs at all. I just had a sore throat, awesome. And then I had a mild fever, and my body ached for a couple of days, and that was it.
Okay. Yeah. And that was this past May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that version of it was really mild.
I think that it's like the different strains. It's like my wife and I got it again. God, this would have been like a year ago or something like that. And so this was the one that was like the super, super high fever where like we both got like, and we didn't get that high fever like from the one that kicked our ass in the first one. But the second time we got it, and this is after shots, we had got all the things, got the booster and whatnot, and then got this other thing. And, so yeah, I got like 104 fever, 104.3, I think is as high as I went. And I was like, okay, that's serious. So if this doesn't break by the morning, I'll go to the hospital. But were you taking aspirin and stuff to try to bring the fever down? And doing all the things that you would try to bring a fever down with. Mm-hmm. But it did come down, and like we both had the same super high fever. It was like basically like a really bad flu. Is what
that's basically what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Except it's been amped up by some people messing around in a lab.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is that we made it through it. So
yeah,
here's to that.
Well, I know that used to be a conspiracy theory, but I mean, I think it's pretty well established now that it was a gain of function lab is what created it. Because we know that there are labs like that all over the place.
Yeah.
Where they're making these super viruses all the time to supposedly be able to create better vaccines is the idea. But
right.
It's kind of scary when one of them gets out.
A little bit. So, yeah. I think we saw what happened.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Well, we've been going at it for a while. So you've got you've got your horror film that's in post. So when do you think that one will be done? Do you think? The Preacher.
I think it'll depend upon money. So, which will depend upon other sources like documentaries and stuff like that. Unless my YouTube monetization goes in crazy, and I can do it with that. But so basically, it's going to take a little bit of money and a lot of time, to get it finished, because there's like VFX and stuff like that has to be done because of worlds that need to be created that were not. So that
oh yeah, I was going to ask, what kind of VFX is it? So it's like dream sequences and stuff, or?
No, imagine like a hellscape where you're fighting a bunch of demons that aren't there.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, so
lava and fire all around, and all that kind of stuff,
and real people fighting digital demons.
Okay.
So there's a lot to it.
Ooh, that's pretty involved.
Still trying
that sounds
to figure
expensive if you want it to look good.
Well, there you go. There you go. So, yeah. So, we'll figure out what we can do, what we can get around, what we can do with, quick shots and, all the stuff that you would have to solve, like a big, fight scene with multiple people and, multiple demons and fire and guns and bullets. And yeah. So,
that's expensive.
Well,
yeah.
So that's what we're up against. So, but I mean, one way or the other, we're gonna get it done, because you don't go this far and then not finish it.
Did you ever see the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit or whatever it was, the one that came out like in the 80s that was animated? But then what they did was they actually used real actors and then they sort of animated over them. Do you remember that one? Especially the orcs. I mean, I swear it was in the 80s when it came out. Maybe that's before your time. But they did some stuff like that that actually looked really cool in the final version. But
awesome.
like you might consider just putting people in monster suits and then doing some weird VFX over that you might be able to do cheaper than completely CGI that would actually look cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's, that just that idea right there. It's like, running people and the monster suits and the green screen and the crew. And it's like, how do you do something, with what ideas? And I think that like all that, like basically we're gonna try to do it all digital. I mean, we have like the physical scenes of the physical actors, running around shooting stuff. So it's like we just need to, put the rest of the world, around them. So that will be a challenge that we're going to take on and figure out the best way to do it.
Do you have a VFX guy that lined up?
Yeah. Mike Bybee. He does video games. He's a game developer, so he's been working with me. But
okay, because I know a guy who's really good at After Effects, who did a bunch of effects for his show. He has kind of a fantasy show, and he did some visual effects with like lightning type of visual electricity stuff that looks super cool, and like magic swords and all this stuff, and it all looks completely cool.
Nice.
So if you need somebody, just give me a holler. And I even asked him, are you willing to do stuff for other shows? And he said, yeah, he could probably do it at a somewhat discounted rate. I mean, he's working on his own show because he's like the producer of his own show that's really good.
Cool.
But he's still, he might be able to do some side work for, some spare change.
Right on. Yeah. Well, we'll cross those bridges, and if I need help, I'll definitely give you a call.
Yeah,
for sure.
Cool.
So, yeah, all man. Right. I mean, it's like this is the indie world. You know what I mean? It's like we're just people trying to make things, trying to do something cool. For people to enjoy.
Right. It's everybody helping everybody.
Yeah.
It's at least that seems to be the winning philosophy these days.
That's my philosophy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, very cool. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Is any parting things we want to plug? We got links in the description, so we got a link to your YouTube channel, and then eventually we'll put a link down there to the shows that you publish that are available. Actually, we could even put a link to, if it's going to end up on Amazon or Netflix or something like that, we can put links to that too, I think. Any kind of URL we can stick down there in the description.
Down the line. So,
And then, do you have an IMDb page? Probably, I can put that down there too if you want, or a website.
Yeah, the IMDb, all that stuff. The IMDb, at Twitter. You already have the Twitter.
Are you on Facebook and Instagram and all that too?
I have an Instagram, but I'm never on Instagram. I'm just like, I have no Instagram game.
Yes, my Instagram is basically every time I post something on Facebook, it goes to Instagram too. That's basically the only thing I got on Instagram.
Yeah, and I'm not really. I'm just like, I've been on Twitter,
Okay, yeah.
So I have Twitter, and now I have YouTube, and that seems to be growing right now. And I just joined Blue Sky, so I
don't even know what Blue Sky is.
Oh, it's another platform. See, it's like that's pretty much where my social media ends, and I actually have to start making stuff.
Okay, interesting. Well, very good. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been really enjoyable. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then you can always DM me if you ever have some idea, or if you want me to somehow promote something or whatever, or if you want to come back and do another talk about your latest stuff. It's all cool.
Yeah, I'd love to. We'll keep in touch, and I'll keep you apprised of what's happening.
Okay,
and likewise.
Also, I these days I tend to visit LA pretty frequently. So I'm usually down there every couple of months. So when I'm in town, I'll give you a holler. Maybe we can go out to lunch or something.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
All right, Kyle. Well, take care. Do you watch? Are you Star Trek at all? Are you into Star Trek?
I was like a big Trekkie of the original Star Trek. I used to watch it, the reruns and stuff like that all the time. Yeah, Tribbles. No, nice.
Yeah, and of course, here, right there. Okay, well, then you know what this is, right?
Yeah, live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, my friend.
You too, my friend. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Fantastic creations emerging spontaneously from the space of life.
For the benefit of all beings everywhere.
We gotta